Okay, hello everyone. Let's start off with our discussions about risk management. So the last session that we had taken, we had discussed the chapter 1 of risk management. We've already gone in the first session and discussed certain basic concepts with you. So we had gone into the first session to explain to you what is risk. We gave you the overview about the entire syllabus that we're going to be discussing, and we went ahead to discuss with you certain nitty-gritties about the way we will approach the paper. Certain important terminologies including words like threat, words like vulnerabilities, words like risk. The second chapter is where we went into the core concepts of the chapter. So that is when we actually started off with the chapter from the ICI material. So we went on to discuss with you the basic terminologies like risk, business risk and financial risk. These were all discussed from ICI material. Class discussions had started in the previous session and we continued on in the last session. We then went on and we discussed certain further concepts. So we went on to discuss with you the classification of business risk. Now listen carefully because we're going to continue the discussions from where we left last session. Okay, so the last session I discussed with you classification of business risk. In the business risk we had discussed with you, okay, in the business risk word I had discussed with you that the business risk can be internal, external, okay. The internal business risk can be internal, external, controllable and uncontrollable. This is classifications for business risk. Because today's session we will have classifications for risk. Risk can be any type of risk, or only one type of risk is business risk. So we will have classification of business risk in a lot of detailed discussions today. Almost like maybe half an hour, maybe we discuss only about classifications of business, classifications of risk in today's session. A lot of depth of discussions coming up on that topic for us today. But be very clear and don't get confused between the two different topics. This was classification of business risk. What we are going to be discussing today is classification, categorization of risk. Risk and business risk will be different. Okay. Today's session, like if you would remember, a lot of times I have mentioned in the previous two sessions that the concept will keep coming up, but I'm going to start off with today's session as well. That risk has to be measured, analyzed, evaluated, and whenever we talk about analyzing risk, measuring risk, evaluating risk, it is always done on the basis of two parameters. If you're getting what I'm saying, if you're getting where I'm going, I said whenever we have to analyze risk, whenever we have to evaluate, measure risk, it is always done on the basis of two parameters. Can you tell me what are the two parameters? Should be talking already. Okay. The two parameters on the basis of which we analyze risk, evaluate risk, assess risk, measure risk is likelihood, probability, and the second is the consequence or the expected loss that we might face. Like we've been saying in the previous sessions as well, the risk is measured, analyzed on the basis of two parameters. What is the possibility of the risk materializing? And what is the likely loss that I would face if the risk materializes? This is two basic parameters where grounds on which I'm going to assess, evaluate, analyze, measure risk. So today's session, the first half, we will have certain topics where we will discuss, sir, how do we judge the probability, the impact, and based upon that, the risk. So at a very basic level, I can say the probability may be low, medium, high of any risk to materialize. The probability may be low, medium, high, and the impact can be, let's say, moderate, or let's say impact can be minimal, moderate, large. Just a different way of classifying. So then what will happen is, okay, just to write down what I'm discussing and telling you, I am saying the probability or the likelihood, maybe this is what I'm just discussing. I'm not going into book. The book will have a different structure. So if somebody is parallelly opening the book and, oh sir has it using different, I'm just discussing. I'll slowly take you towards what is there in the book. Probability, likelihood may be, let's say, low, moderate and high. What does this mean? That certain risk may have low probability that they may materialize. Chances are low. Meteor shower. Certain risks may have moderate probabilities that they may materialize, and certain risks may have high probability that they may materialize. Low, moderate, and high. The impact or the consequence may be okay, this is something that I am making, this is not there. So now what may happen is, if I plot this on a graph, this is just keep looking carefully. I have kind of plotted on a 2-scale graph the probability and impact. So now what happens is, the impact is on my x-axis, which is it can be small, medium, and large. The probability is on the y-axis, which can be low, medium, and high. Now, if you understand and if you're paying attention closely, every one of you, you will notice that this is a box which has the highest risk or the lowest risk. Which has the highest risk or the lowest risk. And why? The shaded box, it will have the highest risk or the lowest risk. Okay, if you're answering correct, this will have the lowest risk. So why? Because the probability is low, and even if it materializes, the impact is small. So probability wise, less important. Consequence, impact wise, less important. So overall, very less important. Are you getting the concepts? On the other hand, a box like this, on the other hand, a box like this has a very high probability. It has a very high probability and it has a very large impact as well. So definitely this will be very, very, very important risk for me as compared to the first box. I'm only trying to make you understand that every risk in the organization is not equally important. We've discussed this. Now we're moving a step towards understanding which risk is more important, which risk is less important, and accordingly what should be my strategy towards that. That's the overall objective of the subject, risk management. So for that matter, I need to first understand what risk is more important, what risk is less important, moving towards it. So ideally, if any box, any risk falls in the orange colored box, if any risk falls in the orange colored box, that's got to be a low probability, low impact, small impact. That's very, very kind of irrelevant or least important risk for us. Any risk that falls in the pink box, it's a high probability, high impact. It's a high probability, high impact. That's a very, very important risk for us that needs immediate alert attention for me. So what do is, I first find out the probabilities for the risk, I find out the impacts for the risk, and then on that basis I can put them into the boxes and I will know what should be my ideal strategy towards it. Are you with me? Now a lot of people feel, sir, that it may be very difficult to just say low, medium, high. So now what happens is, there are different let's say tools, there are lots of different techniques, there are lots of different models. What do all these tools, techniques, models do? They will do the same thing but using different parameters. They will do the same thing but using different parameters. So now, continuing the same discussion, pay attention on the screen. There is a group called open group. Okay. For now, that's all that you need to know. There is something called an open group. Now, what does an open group do? Open group says that, sir, it is difficult for me to classify into 3 categories. So then it says, okay, don't classify into 3 categories. You just put it into 5 categories. So what do we now do? Okay. Now, again, the same things remain. Instead of the word probability, the word used here is frequency. Instead of the word probability, the word used here is frequency, but kind of they go together. I'm not saying the same, but I'm saying they kind of go together. When we used to do standard deviations, we used to use probability or we used to use frequencies. So it's kind of they go together. They used interchangeably for us. Okay. Similarly, instead of the word impact, they use the word effect. Okay. English, they mean different. Here it is similar for us. Okay. Now, frequency, it says, in a very simple level, it says the frequency can be there are certain terms that it uses. One minute, just using the right terms. It says, okay, so effects have to be 4, not 5. So the effects can be negligible. Negligible obviously is the lowest. Marginal, slightly higher. Critical, very important. Catastrophic. Catastrophe means like a big disastrous thing. Okay. On the other hand, the frequency can be unlikely. What is unlikely? That is the lowest chance. Then is seldom. Frequency is seldom. Seldom means often. Then the word comes occasional. Occasional is slightly more than seldom. Then is likely, chances are high, more than 50%. And then is frequent, quite regular. Now if something falls in the red box, or if something falls in the green box, try and visualize please. Catastrophe means something that's like a major disaster. Critical means critical, important, major, but smaller than catastrophe. Marginal is not too much, just about borderline. Negligible is hardly of importance. So negligible has the lowest impact for me and catastrophe has the greatest impact for me. Frequency wise, unlikely has the remotest chance, while frequent has the most chance. So frequent and catastrophe, the red box has the highest alert for me, whereas unlikely and negligible, the green box has the lowest importance for me. What are we doing? Once again, we're trying to understand risk. We're trying to measure, analyze risk. That's what we are going to be doing. So for measuring, analyzing, evaluating the risk, this is one method where I classify probability, where I classify effects, and then I judge whether the risk is low risk, moderate risk, high risk, or extremely high risk. Okay. So this is just one I have drawn. What we could do is, instead of maybe making boxes, I could do something like this also. I could have maybe zones created. Maybe not this far. Okay, so you know, this could be the green zone, this could be the yellow, this could be orange. Okay, so you made one extra actually. Just a second. Yeah. And now it will become more clear. And now if you look at it, the book says that the risk may be low risk, moderate risk, high risk, and extremely high risk. This is what ICI is going to go ahead and say. This is what Open Group says. Open Group does not give a numerical value. Keep listening carefully. Open Group does not give a numerical value to the effect and the frequency. So I'm not saying frequency level is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not saying frequency level is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm saying the frequency is unlikely, seldom, occasional, likely, or frequent. I'm saying the effect can be negligible, marginal, critical, or catastrophic. And based upon the same, the overall risk can be low risk, moderate risk, high risk, or extremely high risk. This is what Open Group says. This is what Open Group says. Okay. A similar thing is what ICI says, but if you're understanding, this is what comes from my structure. This is what I drew. This is not there in any book. This is what I drew to start the concept. The concept of understanding the two base premises on which the entire risk is measured, analyzed, assessed, evaluated, like I've been saying since the first session. Impact, consequences, we use a new word effect, or probability, likelihood, and we use a new word called frequency. Okay. The first method that is there in the book that we discuss is the method of Open Group. This is the method of Open Groups that says the effects can be 4 categories. The probability frequencies can be 5 categories. And so the risk can be 4 broad categories. Low risk, moderate risk, high risk, and extremely high risk. ICAI goes on to say that now the risks, the likelihoods, and the consequences, we will give them a numerical value. Keep listening because we're finishing a lot of pages while we discuss this. You may not realize. Okay, so the probability may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mean? ICI has given it a meaning. So ICI says 1 means the least chances, that's called remote, extremely remote chances. 2 is slightly high, which says unlikely, chances are very less, hardly anything, but more than remote. The third is possible, the chances are there, it may happen, possible. The fourth is 4 is likely means chances is more than 50%, it's quite likely that it will happen. And fifth is almost certain, it's almost like sure that this is going to happen. On the vice versa, the consequence may be again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it says 1 means the impact is hardly anything, insignificant. 2 means it is slightly more than insignificant, it means it's minor, 3 means it's a little more than minor, it's moderate. 4 means high, more than moderate, it's got to be major. And 5 says it's got to be something even more than major, it's got to be a catastrophic. So what ICI did was, it still used terminologies, but instead of only terminologies, it went ahead to give them a value, a numerical value. Keep listening. And then it says risk score is basically probability of occurrence into impact on occurrence. Okay, so risk score is probability of occurrence into the impact of occurrence. We'll copy everything a little later, so I'll give you time to copy everything towards the end. Now I'm only into a discussion mode, so you should be focusing on understanding, focusing on getting the concepts clear. But once we are done with this, we will go into copying parts. Okay, so risk score, if you remember the last session we used a terminology. If you remember the last session we had used a terminology called control score. So what was control score? It was basically we were judging how effective was my controls, so that out of the total inherent risk, the total risk remaining, residual risk, the total risk remaining of the controls have been placed, that is your control score. The reduction, the gap between inherent risk and residual risk is your control score. How much reduction in risk has been possible because of controls? How much reduction in risk has been possible because of controls? That is control score. Risk score is the value of score, or the score value of risk, or the score of risk. So how do you calculate the score of risk? It says probability into impact. Probability into impact. So now we are going numerical. The previous structure did not use numericals. It kind of spoke about in general likeliness, unlikeliness and the impacts, but it did not use numerical values for probability or impacts. But then in this case, the ICI structure, so there are two different models. That was an open group model. This is an ICI's model. Okay. So in this model, we will talk about probability and impact. Okay. So probability and impact. Now, risk score is going to be calculated by probability into impact, probability into impact. So if I can assign a value, let's say value 1 to probability and value 5 to impact, then the risk score is 1 into 5, that is got to be 5, and it's got to fall into this category. On the other hand, if a risk has a probability of 4, on the other hand, if the risk has a probability of 4 and an impact of 2, that it falls into the value of 8. 4 into 2, 8, it will fall here. If you're getting what we're discussing. So ideally for any organization to be able to manage risk, you need to first rank the risk. You need to first know how important is that risk. And to be able to know how important is that risk, you need to judge that on the basis of two parameters: the probability of the risk and the likely impact of the risk. In this case, we will use various techniques to find the value of probability as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the value of impact as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sir, how will I know whether the risk probability is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the impact is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That is a matter of subsequent classes. That is not a matter of this session right now. In this session, I am just trying to say that on some basis, I will find out whether the probability of a risk is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on some basis, I will be able to find out whether the impact is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But once I am able to do that, ICI says we will find the risk score. And then I will set a risk appetite. Keep listening. I will set a risk appetite. Let's say my risk appetite is 17. Or let's say 17 is a little too high. Let's say my risk appetite is 15. Now, if my risk appetite is 15, then what does this mean? That any risk which has a risk score lower than 15, it's acceptable for me. If I have a risk appetite of 15, it means that any risk with a risk score of 15, it's acceptable to me. Any risk with a risk score higher than 15, I will put controls, I will use measures, I will do something to bring it below 15, because above 15, not acceptable to me. That is what is the risk management all about. So first you set your risk appetite 15, set your levels. Find out the probabilities impacts. Find out the list of all the risks, identify all of them. And then find out their risk score. And if the risk score is within your appetite, perfect. If your risk score is above the risk appetite, put controls, use steps, measures to bring it within your risk appetite, within level 15. 15 is a hypothetical number. Obviously, this is not defined anywhere. I said it's an example. But the point is, this is how we are going to be judging, evaluating, measuring, assessing, managing risk. Okay. Risk management is what we are into. For that, the first chapter has been focusing on risk. Till the last session, the focus had been about understanding the terminologies. Now we are going further ahead into the discussions. So today's session, my focus is going to be about three things. I'm just coming back. I'm still on the overview. I have hardly started my session. My today's session is going to be about three things. So what are the three things that we are discussing today? The first thing that we are discussing is how to find out how to classify risk, how to the first thing that we are going to be doing is how to rank the risk. How do we evaluate the risk like this? So we will have two different models. We will have the open group method that will talk about something like this, and we will have something like the ICI method, which will be something like this. Okay, so we are going to talk about these two methods to find out how important is the risk. We then go ahead and discuss the difference between risk and uncertainties. We discuss the various difference between risk and uncertainties. So what is the difference between risk and uncertainties? We discussed first session also that every risk is an uncertainty, but every uncertainty is not a risk. Why? We will discuss some more things about it. So we have about a page of discussions where we discuss risk and uncertainty. And then there are four characteristics, or let's say four things about risk that we need to understand, which is called VUCA. So what VUCA? VUCA. So what is VUCA? VUCA. So what are you talking about? We'll discuss VUCA. Okay. So what is it all about? What do we discuss in VUCA? We will discuss. But that's going to be coming for us. And then we go ahead and we discuss the various types of risks, not business risks, various types of risks. So we discuss the models like this. We discuss the difference between risk and uncertainties and the VUCA. And then we go on to discuss the various classification of risks. That's what we discuss in the entire session to wrap up the entire chapter today. So we will definitely look forward to wrapping up the entire chapter 1 today. That's what our focus of discussion for today's session would be like. Okay. But before we start all these three broad areas of topics, there is one small discussion that I would have ideally wanted to wrap up last session, but that's just got carried forward like a 5-minute thing. Listen carefully. And there's a reason why we also allowed it to get carried forward. Because the last session, somehow my discussion focused on business risk. My today's session is focusing on risk, not business risk. So there are two topics where we talk about risk. Okay, there is an entity called COSO, and I always say don't COSO me for that. Okay, COSO is a Hindi word also, but if some people will understand COSO, and for that don't mere ko COSO is what I keep saying. But what is COSO? It's an organization committee of it's a committee for setting of standards. Okay, organizational standards, and COSO has come up with a lot of international standards. COSO talks about classification of risk. ICAI talks about various types of risk from the audit perspective for us. So those are all types of risk only, but they were given while we were discussing business risk. So I held them back as well, that okay, since today's session is purely focusing on classification of risk, we will pick it up in today's session only. Okay, firstly I would want to go into these two models with you, discuss and wrap up these two models, then go into further discussions about risk, uncertainty and VUCA, and then come back and discuss the last day's sessions about risk classification and the today's discussions about risk classification. So that's how we will proceed in today's session. Okay, ideally this was where we started the today's session with. This was just a discussion that I did. I am sure this was just a base laying so that you understand the two models, and you understand that it's not that every model will have 5 into 5 or 5 into 4. So what is 5 into 5 or 5 into 4? This model have 5 layers on probability, 5 layers on impact. So it's a 5 into 5 matrix, we call it. This matrix had 5 layers on the y-axis, 4 layers on the x-axis. This had a 3 into 3 matrix. So similarly, we are going to I'm just saying that every matrix or every analysis of the risk may have different levels. And what is the best way? There's nothing called best way. You can create your own matrix on various parameters and then accordingly judge risk, measure risk, analyze and manage risk. So there can be different such models for risk analysis. Two of such models is what we're discussing as per Open Group, as per ICAI. So this part I am leaving for copying because obviously that is not relevant. This is just something that I drew to make you understand that something like this is coming up. Okay, in fact I'll give you a minute. If you guys still want to copy it, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, This is as per open group. Done? Okay. Moving on. This is the second diagram. Done? Okay, done. Let's move ahead then. I would want you to start off with the open group standard discussion only. The two topics that we have discussed, I'm straight away coming to those. There is some topic in between that has not been discussed. Don't worry, it's going to be discussed today itself. Okay, so we will pick it up for discussions, but right now I want you to discuss the two topics, the two diagrams that we have discussed. The first one is open group standards here. Okay, the open group suggests classifying risks with respect to effect and frequency in accordance with scales used within the organization. So according to open group, we will classify on the basis of two parameters, effect and frequency. On the basis of effect and frequency. There are no hard and fast rules with respect to measuring effect and frequency. There is no hard and fast. They are clearly saying what we are using is judgmental basis. There is no hard and fast method of checking the effect and frequency. What you feel is the ideal method. You can apply that and find out the effect and frequencies. But we will use effect and frequencies to find out the risk levels. Effect can be assessed as catastrophic, critical, marginal and negligible. All the terminologies in the diagram. Catastrophe infers critical financial loss that could result in bankruptcies. Critical is serious financial loss in more than one line of business, leading to a loss in productivity and no return on investments. Marginal is a minor financial loss and a reduced return on investment. Negligible is a minimal impact on the line of business. So negligible is minimal impact. Focus on the word minimal. Marginal is minor. Critical is important, serious. Catastrophic is very critical levels that can lead to bankruptcies. So 4 levels of effects. Frequency can be frequent, likely, occasional, seldom or unlikely, the terms that the model uses. From the frequent, using likely to occur. Likely occurs several times. Occasional is sporadically, sometimes, several times, sometimes. Seldom, remotely possible. Unlikely will probably not occur. Most likely it will not occur. Unlikely. So unlikely, seldom, likely, occasional, likely and then frequent. 5 and 4. And based upon this 5 and 4, open group classifies risk, combining the two factors of impact and to infer impact would be conducted using a heuristic based method of classification. The result could be extremely high, moderate and low. Extremely high, most likely fail with severe consequences. High risk, significant failure of parts. Significant failure of parts. Moderate, noticeable failures of path. And low risk, certain goals will not be wholly successful. Are you with me? Low risk, certain goals will not be successful. Moderate, noticeable, more than low, noticeable failure of parts. High risk is significant failure of parts. And extremely high is most likely lead to failure with severe consequences. Are you with me? That's the open group method. The 5 probabilities, the 4 impacts and the 4 likely consequences or the levels of risk assessments. ICAI guide on risk based internal audit. ICAI's guide on risk based internal audit. According to the ICAI's guide of risk based internal audit, it provides a relevant information on the subject of risk attributes, measurement and risk score. All risks have 2 attributes. All risks have 2 attributes, likelihood and risk consequence. So we will judge the risk on the basis of 2 parameters. The consequence of the risk and the likelihood of the risk. Likelihood is the chances of the risk materializing. Likelihood is the chances of the risk materializing. probability, and risk consequence is the impacts. To facilitate understanding and usability in decision making of risk, comparison helps. To enable comparison, a risk score is used. You should write the word risk score here. That's a very, like we had used the word control score, here comes the word risk score. To enable comparison, a risk score is used. By measuring the two risk attributes, a risk score can be derived for that risk. This risk score is meant for comparison between a cutoff point normally called the risk appetite, or comparing it and thereby filtering for significant risks. So either I can have a cutoff, anything above that is something that needs my attention, anything below that is something that I can ignore temporarily, or I can simply use the risk score to just rank the risk so that I know which are the more important ones and which are the least important ones. The measurement of the likelihood can be remote, unlikely, possible, likely, and almost certain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you notice, there is a name like in the previous model. Like in the previous model, there is a name, but we have gone one step forward to give them a score values. Okay, so it's similar to open group method because it's giving them names like unlikely, likely, possible, but it's going a step forward by giving them a score values. The consequences may be insignificant, minor, moderate, major, and catastrophic. So if you will notice carefully, the risk probabilities are multiple layers, the impacts are multiple layers, and that is how we try and understand the ICAI's guide on risk-based internal audit, where we understand risk matrix. We later learn this is called risk matrix. What we are making is, this is the risk matrix, the diagram that we made. This is the probability impact risk matrix. This is called probability impact risk matrix. Okay, now a risk with the lowest level of likelihood 1 can nevertheless have the highest level of consequence, level 5, catastrophic. The likelihood of floods, the likelihood of floods can be remote, but the consequences can be catastrophic. Risk score, how do you calculate? Is a numerical multiple of the likelihood and the risk consequence. So you will multiply likelihood and consequence. 4 into 3, you will get 12. Example, a board may have a risk appetite of 12 when any risk with a score above 12 becomes significant and to be included in the audit plan. Simple, they have taken a risk level of 12, but all we are saying is, I will have a risk appetite. Any risk with a risk score above the risk appetite needs attention and needs action, attention and actions. So these were the two models that we had discussed, that we were focusing in the entire first session, the first half of the session, where we've discussed the open groups model and the ICAI guide on risk based internal audit model for risk matrix or risk measurements. What we're doing is risk measurement or risk matrix. Okay, these are the two models that we had to discuss. Okay, I'll give you a minute before I move on, because I have a lot of further things in my today's session to discuss about. Like I said, there are three broad things that we're discussing. We're discussing the two models that we've done. The next thing of our discussion today would be about uncertainty and risk and how the difference, along with the discussion about VUCA. And then we go into categorizations and classifications of risks. Okay, so we will have a lot of discussions coming up. Giving you a minute if you have any discussions or doubts with respect to the two models that we have discussed thus far, or else we will keep moving ahead. Okay, let's keep moving then. From here, we go into our discussions about risk and uncertainty. Okay, risk and uncertainty. I have discussed this earlier as well, but I'll take another minute to discuss with you, so listen carefully. In case of risk, we said there can be negative consequences, there may be positive consequences. But we said risk is not equal to loss. Risk is the possibility of loss, but there will also be possibilities of opportunities. Listen carefully, huh? Just revising what we've discussed in the first session. So we said risk is not equal to loss. Risk is the possibility of loss, the probability of loss, and we went on to discuss and say that risk may have negative consequences, it may have threats, but it may also have opportunities for us. So risk may be negative or positive. But it is important that one of the possibilities for risk would be negative. But it is important that one of the possibilities of risk may be negative. However, in case of uncertainty, the outcome is uncertain. However, in case of uncertainty, the outcome may be uncertain, but it is not necessary that one of the outcomes has a negative consequence. Once again, in risk is a type of uncertainty. The outcome is not certain. Risk is a type of uncertainty. The outcome is not certain. If it was certain, we don't call it risk. It's certain. Risk is not certain. It is uncertain. But of the various possible outcomes, in case of risk, one of the outcomes will definitely be negative. Of the various possible outcomes, in case of risk, one of the outcomes will definitely be negative. In case of uncertainty, there may be different possible outcomes, but it is not necessary that one of the outcomes has to be negative. One clear example. Let's say there are two friends. Okay. Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. B likes to bet. So bet. And Mr. B goes into a let's say casino, and he bets certain amount of money. Okay, Mr. B goes into a casino and he bets certain amount of money. Mr. A, on the other hand, only is a friend who's looking and seeing what Mr. B is doing. Now for Mr. A, the outcome of the game at casino is uncertain. Why? He does not know whether Mr. B will win or lose. But for him it is uncertainty, because for him there is no negative consequence. There is uncertainty, but there is no negative consequence. But for Mr. B, there is a possibility that he will gain money, or there is a possibility that he may lose his money. But because there is a possibility of loss involved, this is uncertainty for Mr. A, but this is a risk for Mr. B. If you're getting this very clearly, this is an uncertainty for Mr. A, but this is a risk for Mr. B. Why? Because Mr. B, for him there is a possibility of a negative consequence that he may lose money. For Mr. A, who's just a standing by friend, there is no negative consequence. Okay, unless it's like, you know, the friend in need is a friend indeed, and so I am like, I may suffer also because if he suffers. Let's not get into technicals that ways, but it's about financial loss only. I'm keeping it here, example. So for uncertainty, it may happen that the outcome is 0 or positive. It may happen that the outcome is 0 or positive, but there is nothing negative. It may happen. But in case of risk, there will definitely be one of the options as negative. there will definitely be one of the outcomes as negative. That is one of the major differences between risk and uncertainty. The second difference that I will talk about, that a lot of authors talks about, but it is not something that we can define in surety, but this is one of the ways that a lot of people say that risk is measurable, quantifiable. Uncertainty is not measurable or quantifiable. So in case of uncertainty, there will be a level of vagueness, there will be a lack of clarity, because of it which it may not be possible to quantify or define in numerical measurable terms. Whereas in case of risk, there will be possibility to measure, quantify and explain in numerical terms. Which is why risk and uncertainty, two main differences that our book will talk about. The first difference it says is risk may have negative consequences. Risk must have one of the consequences as negative. Uncertainty may have one of the consequences as negative, or it may not have. Risk is also a type of uncertainty. So uncertainty may have one of the outcomes as negative, or it may not have, but it is not necessary to have one of the outcomes as negative for uncertainty. But in case of risk, it is mandatory to have one of the outcomes as negative. Second difference, in case of risk, quantifiable and measurable. In case of uncertainty, lack of clarity leading to problems with respect to measurability and quantifiability. Okay, so we discuss risk and uncertainty, and then we go on to discuss four things about risk. Okay, four terminologies that we will often use, the knowledge of which is like a prerequisite for you to be able to understand the concepts of risk, uncertainty, which is VUCA. Okay, moving in. Let's move. Everyone, pay attention, sir. Risk and uncertainty. You should be knowing this name, though obviously we don't need to learn, we should know the name. In his seminal work, Risk, Uncertainty and Profit, Frank Knight established the distinction between risk and uncertainty. Now they've gone down to discuss a paragraph of general knowledge. This is like a GK thing. They've explained the terms. I'll read a few lines for you in between, not relevant, important, but I'll read a few lines. The essential fact is that risk means in some cases a quantity susceptible of measurement. We accordingly restrict the term uncertainty to cases of the non-quantitative type. It will appear that a measurable uncertainty is risk. Risk is a measurable uncertainty. Uncertainty is non-quantifiable type. Thus, Knightian uncertainty is immeasurable, not possible to calculate, while in the Knightian sense, risk is measurable. Okay. While in the Knightian sense, the risk is measurable, uncertainty is not measurable. Okay. Another distinction between risk and uncertainty is proposed by Douglas Hubbard. Again the name please. Uncertainty, the lack of complete certainty, that is the existence of more than one possibility. The true outcome value is not known. A set of probabilities assigned to a set of possibilities. A set of probabilities assigned to a set of possibilities. This is uncertainty. Outcome is not known with certainty. Risk, a state of uncertainty where some of the possibilities involve a loss, catastrophe or other undesirable outcome, where some of the possibilities will definitely involve an undesirable outcome. In this sense, one may have uncertainty without risk, but not risk without uncertainty. You may have uncertainty without risk, but not risk without uncertainty. We can be uncertain about the winner of a contest, but unless we have some personal stake in it, we have no risk. So if there's a contest, who wins in that contest, I just look at it and be happy. Oh wow, very good, very good, very. I have nothing to lose into this. Unless if I have a personal stake, and if I have a personal stake, then it becomes a risk for me. If we bet money on the outcome of the contest, then we have a risk. In both cases, there is a possibility of more than one outcome. Okay.